been a long day, man. I tell you.
Eh,
As usual, when I thought I had time to myself,
Uh-huh. What happened?
motherfucker, nothing. People just wanted me to do this, do that. Now I'm just finally having time to myself. I really don't want to be bothered tonight. So, and I literally just got done listening to the album too. So,
That's
yeah, this was released around like a dark period for them, from what I looked up.
it was a dark period for him.
Yeah, I'm gonna get into that when I tell the story and shit.
Okay.
But it's crazy too because I have yet to talk about Back the Fuck Up. So
Yeah, we haven't done no Onyx stuff on here. We only did Sticky Fingers solo album.
yeah, I know I did a review on All We Got Is Us, like I think last year or the year before though.
Right.
Cause I told myself I was gonna talk about Back the Fuck Up then shut 'em down, but everyone kept asking about shut 'em down. So I was like, you know what? Let me just get this over with and shit. I mean, and you know how, and since StreamYard gave me that fucking limit, probably by midnight or 12:10, the latest I'll be out.
I got a limit too. But the limit is good because you know what I'm gonna do?
What?
Um After this week, after we do the stuff this week, I'm gonna like my limit, like they don't renew it till the 29th. So I'm gonna record like 30 videos and just drop one each day for December. So the only live ones we'll do will be like the Eddie Murphy joint that we got for December, and um but actually you said Coming to America 2 got delayed, right?
From what I heard, let me look that up just to
Okay.
give you the final
Well, if
answer.
it got delayed, we could push that back to next year. But I wanted to drop that around the time Coming to America came out. But yeah, I already know what I'm dropping on New Year's Day. So I'm just record like 30 videos during the whole week and drop shit for like December, like each day for December. So the limit is actually good for me.
True, true. And
You know what I mean?
coming to America too is coming March. This
Oh, March. Okay. All right. So we'll do that sometime next year, early like around that time instead of December.
okay, that's cool with me.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. 1 second.
It's been a while since I did a recorded video anyway, so I'm gonna do like each one for every day of the month. Mhm.
Tell you. Um, Sam says Sticky Fingers' favorite Onyx album. Oh wow, I always thought his favorite album was All We Got Is Us. That's interesting. Okay.
Interesting. Okay. I love the first three. It's
Yeah.
after the first three that they start, having issues.
Yeah. 'Cause I heard Back the Fuck Up too a while back. I didn't really care for it.
Right. Yeah, I heard that a while back too.
I never heard Trigonometry though.
I didn't hear that one. I heard like some of the recent ones from with them and the Snow Goons, but yeah, there's a couple of them I missed, and they wasn't promoted or nothing. And for the first three is are like my favorites, and they discography.
Yeah. And you know what? I would even throw in Sticky Fingers album.
Oh yeah, definitely a dope concept album, and that wasn't promoted enough by us, and I don't know why. I promoted it, but the record label didn't care to promote it.
Because around that time, like you gotta remember, like 2000 was like the time the Southern hip hop was really.
Yeah, I think he came out with at the wrong time with that uh album. If he had came out with that like earlier, like during the '90s, or even like around 2006, 2007, I think it would have been well better received than how it did in 2000.
Wasn't the album pushed back though?
The album was pushed back, But
Yeah.
just that whole year was weird because like you had Nelly coming out and he was big in 2000. You had Eminem coming out with Marshall Mathers LP. You had there was a lot of stuff going on in 2000, and I think he just picked the wrong time to come out with that album. He was on Aftermath, left Aftermath. No surprise. They always leave Aftermath and went to Universal, but I just feel like he came out at the wrong time. Like I would have preferred if he came out like late 2000. I think it would have been a better, more well received than 2000 or even like 98, 99 even if he had came out with that album.
Yeah, I would prefer 98 and 99
Right,
because I kind of felt like if it would came out in the late 2000s, it still would probably have been promoted as well. And
right,
plus, around that time too, Onyx was like really like their popularity wasn't as strong, and they were
right,
like acting a lot more
right.
and stuff like that. You know what I'm
They
saying?
coming off the success of this album we're about to talk about, and then he decides to go solo, and then Retro came out with that Firestar shit. That was bad too,
Oh, we're gonna talk about that.
you know. But I like the album. I think the album was a dope concept album. It's underappreciated. I'm glad that we got to discuss it.
Oh yeah.
What up, Christian?
By the way, I dropped a poll today about
Uh-huh. I saw.
R&B. Yeah, the R&B
I,
crooners.
I voted for Maxwell because Maxwell album. I love that.
Yeah, believe it or not, I personally voted for the Charlie Wilson album and stuff like that because
Uh,
I never
was
actually
that the
heard the album.
first? Was that the first one? That's the one with what's it called? First name Charlie.
Yeah,
That one was good. I remember that one.
I've never heard the whole album in full.
Yeah,
So
that one was that. That's when he came back out, in mainstream as a solo artist again, and he was dubbed Uncle Charlie by Snoop, and that one was good. I remember hearing that one.
yeah, so far Love Letter is leading it. I'm like, okay,
Love Letter was good too, and that's one of the later R. Kelly albums.
right. I actually thought the Brian McKnight would be leading because
Anything was good. It's a tough poll. It's tough.
it is a tough poll.
Yeah.
That's one thing I like about these polls
Mhm.
because it makes me do artists I've never really talked about
Right.
on the channel before.
hmm It's a tough poll. I mean, any one of those albums.
Hell, I could do another one and shit where I can narrow down some ties and shit, low key.
Right.
Yeah, I'm not trying to be bothered tonight, low key.
Yeah.
So I was talking to my friend about the Megan Thee Stallion album,
Oh.
and he was basically he said he pretty much he liked it, but at the
Oh.
same time he just felt like certain songs didn't deserve to be on the album and shit. But he feels like people are going to like grow upon it like in the future and shit like that. Like watch 2021. And
I love the production. She just talk about. I look at it as stripper music. That's basically what it is. So if you're not like a fan of like strip clubs, then you're not really gonna get it. But that's basically how I look at it. It's like a stripper music, made to be twerked in the strip clubs. But I like the production. Like there's certain songs I felt like she should have did features for with other artists instead of the ones she had on.
right.
You know, I was watching that Griselda the West Side Gun interview on Joe Budden podcast.
Yeah.
And he talked about a lot of shit, and he talked about Armani, and he was like how, and it's basically what we were saying is like Armani is like the Megan Thee Stallion version for Griselda. Like there's no other chick out there that's rhyming over Premier and Damager beats like Armani. So he knew what he was doing, and that's basically what we said when we did the album reaction. Like she have the body of like on a Megan Thee Stallion, but she can spit. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And Westside said that DJ Shay that passed away, that was his artist, and he met her back then, and she was freestyling with Conway and Benny, but she along the way she got away from that and she started doing the strip club music. So that's why he got her on Griselda. so that she can rhyme like how she used to rhyme when you first met her, and give her producers like Beat Butcher and Damager and Premier.
Oh wow.
You know what I'm saying? And he plans on. He said once he retires, he plans on just being just the CEO of the label and pushing those artists, pushing Amani to be bigger than what she is now, and getting he wants to get some R&B artists on Griselda because he's big on R&B, and he called out Shady, I'm glad that he did that because we've been saying that forever, that they didn't know how to promote Griselda, and that he wanted they wasn't moving fast enough like how he was moving, and that's why he asked for his release. He spoke to Paul Rosenberg and he asked for his release, and Paul granted it. The last album that's going to be on Shady is going to be the Conway God Don't Make Mistakes album. That's going to be February 12th. He said.
I think so. Yeah.
So that's going to be the last project with Griselda on Shady, and then Conway going to be a free agent. Westside is already a free agent now. Like his the papers already signed and everything, so he's a free agent. And he said like that's what he's doing. Like he's building their label to be the best ever. I know there was people talking about like Joe Budden's mentioned like you would be great as the new CEO of Def Jam, and he said yo he would love to take over Def Jam and do over their logo and have their merch will be selling out like Griselda merch. But he was like instead of taking over that company, I'm going to make Griselda the new Def Jam.
True.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm glad he did that because you know what I'm saying? And what we was saying that the whole time that Eminem wasn't doing shit for them. He wasn't on none of their albums. He had access to using Beat Butcher and Damager and all those cats over there for his own shit. And he didn't use it. And the same thing Westside said. Remember when I told you that I felt like Eminem was jealous of them?
Yeah.
Westside Gun said, well, he didn't come out and say jealous, but he said this when all of a sudden Eminem wasn't putting out no albums for years. All of a sudden, when Griselda signs to Shady, he starts coming out with these albums with Kamikaze and Revival and Music to Be Murdered By. He wasn't doing none of that shit. He was laying dormant for years. All of a sudden now, because you got Griselda in your label, now you want to start dropping shit. I felt like I've been said this shit. I'm like I felt like Eminem was low key jealous of Griselda,
Wow.
and they might never admit it, but got that feeling because I'm like yo, this dude wasn't dropping shit for years. After Marshall Mathers OP2, he was silent. All of a sudden, when Griselda signs with the label, now you want to jump back in the studio and you're putting out bullshit records anyway.
Hold
You
on.
know what I'm
Hold
saying?
on.
Westside said the same shit. I'm like, bro, I've been saying this shit. I'm like, yo, Eminem is low key jealous of him. I said this on my channel over the summer when we talked about this shit. I'm like, yo, I've been seeing that.
Yo,
You know what I mean?
do you think that Eminem and Westside gonna go at it and shit? Like,
I don't know because with Eminem, yo, you know how Eminem burned bridges with people he was cool with Limp Bizkit. He burned bridges with them. He burned bridges with Everlast. Like he burned bridges with people that he was even at one point he wasn't talking to Royce because that whole beef with D12 and Royce, and he had to, you know what I'm saying? He burned bridges with people that he was cool with. So it's like, who's to say he won't go at Westside?
and it's crazy because I was just watching Beef 2 this morning, and I was watching the Royce the 5'9" segment and shit like that.
Mhm. Yeah,
And it's
but
I
but the thing is, Westside. Even if that happened, Westside don't gotta respond to him. All he gotta do is get Conway and Benny to respond to him. That's gonna be the real battle because I don't know if Eminem could take down both Conway and Benny. You know what I'm saying?
right.
Westside ain't gotta do a diss track. Just get Benny and get Conway to do it.
Yeah, I'm ready whenever you are, bro.
Yeah.
What's up, you two? How's everyone doing this lovely Sunday night? This your boy Reg in the building. Got my homeboy Try with me.
What up?
Um, the album I'm going to talk about today is Onyx's third studio album, Shut 'Em Down. Of course, I don't actually I don't actually have
No,
the
no,
album,
nope.
but this is a classic album.
Yep.
This is an album that a lot of people have requested over the years. It has since become like probably my most requested review next to Prodigy's HNIC album. Um, Singles albums known for are React, The Worst, Shut 'Em Down, and Broke Willies and Ghetto Stars, which I kind of find interesting because Broke Willies is talking about like the shiny suit era, and Ghetto
Right.
Stars kind of has like a, you know what? Let me say that because I have a lot to say about this album. By the way, producers you have Keith Home, Self, DJ Motherfucking Scratch, Buddha, Latif, Jake Miguel, which I believe is Jam Master J, Randy Allen, and Onyx. And the guest appearances, this album has like a lot more guest appearances compared to the previous two. You got X1, rest in peace to X1. He's an Onyx affiliate. He passed away in Las Vegas around 2007, by the way.
How did he die?
I have to look at it. I never
That,
actually found out.
that's Sticky Fingers' brother.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's Sticky Fingers, brother.
yeah,
Okay,
and that's also Fredro's cousin, because Sticky and Fredro are cousins.
got you. Okay. You got DMX. You got Clay the Raider, still living. Bonnie Fuco. You got a very young and unknown 50 Cent back when he was kind of big and chubby.
Mhm.
This was his first appearance on Wax, by the way. You got J Mega from All City, which All City, for those who don't know, they were like a duo that, if I'm not mistaken, they were like affiliated with Onyx. They kind of like
Yeah,
had a similar sound.
mhm,
Yeah, Onyx discovered them. Excuse me.
yeah,
Yeah, I heard Metropolis go to a while back ago.
mhm.
It was not a bad album. It definitely
Yeah,
had that late night. It had like if you like All We Got Is Us mixing with a little bit of Shut 'Em Down, you would like that album.
yeah,
So J Meg and Greg Valentine, we got to talk about that album one day. So
yes.
you got fucking Mr. Cheeks. You like I said before, this whole album got like a lot more guest appearances, and I'm going to talk about that. You got Raekwon, Killer Sin, Meth Man, and Nari and Big Pun. All right. So how did you get into Onyx? This album.
Onyx, for me, it was with the video "Throw Your Guns Up," and when I first saw "Throw Your Guns Up," I never heard of Onyx before then. I didn't know who they was. I thought they were gonna be like some flash in the pan group, and I used to always see their video on Young TV Raps. And I'm like, who the hell are these like four bald headed niggas? And you know, they blatantly promoting gun violence, and had the guns on the cover of Back the Fuck Up, and talking about just the criminal life, you know what I'm saying, and growing up in Queens, and I didn't know who they was, and I think slowly that song grew on me, and um I want to say when Slam came out, because Slam was like the second single. When Slam came out, it was an instant hit, and I think that's what made me go out and get the album. I remember getting the album on cassette back then, and listening to the album, and hearing like Black Vagina Finder and Onyx is here. Onyx is here. They had a I used to see they had like a promo commercial for that song that they used to play in between Young TV Raps, like during the commercial break. So they heavily promoted that at Def Jam, and at that time, Def Jam was like, everybody coming out was they can't miss. So like when I found out they were on Def Jam, and then just hearing Slam, I'm like, yeah, that's what made me buy the album, and hearing it, and I loved it. And knowing that Jam Master Jay, so rest in peace to him, that this was his group, and I was a big Run DMC fan, so I knew he wasn't gonna promote nobody whack. He just starting his label, JMJ Records, and um, you know, that album I end up loving, and then with years later, like even that same year in '93, they came out with they Sticky and Fredro was in the movie Strapped. That was for HBO. That's like probably one of the first HBO films that I watched. And it was like that was like a hood film at that. You know what I'm saying? And that was a huge thing when that came out. And then they just became like a staple in like hardcore, hip hop and especially like in '93 when the music climate was changing and it was very a lot of the hip hop was more rugged. It was more of the harder street sound, and then you got like the gangster rap over on the West Coast that we were competing with. So they basically came out at the right time for East Coast hip hop, and over the years, just seeing them with every album get better with all uh um what's the second album
All we got is us.
All We Got Is Us. That was a big album when that came out, and I remember going to see the show soundtrack and seeing the video for Live with when they came out with that joint on the show soundtrack, and they were and then just the logo, like the Mad Face Invasion with the angry face on all the t-shirts. That was like a iconic logo. Like you saw that everywhere with the
I
t-shirts and the hockey jerseys back then when we were rocking hockey jerseys in like '93, '94.
Yup.
They had like the Onyx hockey jerseys. So that was an iconic logo. It still is. Just like the Wu-Tang symbol. And they were definitely important to New York hip hop at the time. And then when this album came out, um, I remember when Def Jam started that whole like Survival of the Fittest tour. I didn't get to go to that one. I wanted to, but the tickets were sold out. And then when they had the show at the Apollo, and um, I remember going to Beat Street, and Beat Street was playing like when it dropped on VHS. Beat Street was playing the tour, and I remember like just standing there and watching the shit, and it was nuts. Like Onyx killed everybody on that tour, whether it was Def Squad or Red and Meth or Onyx or Keith Murray, Foxy Brown. Everybody killed it on that tour, and I think having that tour really um pushed a lot of those artists at that time on Def Jam projects, whether it was Shut 'Em Down or Il Nana or the El Nino album. But yeah, that was a iconic tour to be on, and they came out with this album at the right time for that tour. And they just been a staple in hip hop, and like over the years, like watching a lot of the bootleg films that Sticky was in and Federal was in, and they just made a career out of being smart and made a career in music and in Hollywood, and they're definitely legends in the game to me. So that's basically my introduction. Salute Gamer, what up? Ray Sean was good.
That's a dope story, bro.
Yeah.
Um, to me, when it comes to Onyx, I remember when I was a kid and when I was like getting into hip hop a lot, I remember just watching the throw your guns in the air video on YouTube just scrolling by.
Right.
And I just loved the video the first time I saw it. Like just these bald headed niggas acting all crazy
Right.
and whatnot. And if I'm not mistaken, I read somewhere that Method Man and Redman said that that's like one of their favorite videos in hip hop history and stuff. And I can't even get mad about that.
Yeah, because they always brought energy, no matter what video they had, whether it was Throw Your Guns or Slam or Shifty, whatever video they had, Walk in New York, they always had that energy, and that's what I always love about them. Because sometimes when you hear an artist on record and you go to see them live, they don't translate the same. But
I
even like when you see them live, they bring that same energy that they have on record, and that's what I always liked about them in groups like MOP and the Locks. I love that because you're really getting what you're hearing on the record. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah, but yeah, that's pretty much how I got into Onyx and shit. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Um, like I did a review on All We Got Is Us. We talked about pretty much yes, the Sticky Fingers debut solo album. So yeah.
Herb Jones.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Which I'm just gonna be real. That's like the most one of the most underrated
Mm-hmm.
hip hop albums ever. But
Definitely.
watch the review on that.
Mm-hmm.
So after the release of All We Got Is Us, Onyx was really like big and whatnot. They were out doing different things. When Fredro Starr was on Moesha, he was on Straps. He was on Moesha and whatnot. Because originally, what I really did not know was Merlin Santana. Rest in peace to Merlin Santana, who played Romeo from the Steve Harvey Show. He played Ohaji, Moesha's first boyfriend.
Mm-hmm.
And originally, he was supposed to have stayed for like a second season, but Steve Harvey, he liked him. He got him a slow role in the Steve Harvey Show, and Brandy didn't really want him to go. But at the end of the day, that's how Fredro Starr came about and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? What else? What else? So yeah, like I said, 1996, they discovered All City. They discovered All City, and it's kind of crazy too because like by the time the late '90s had happened, Def Jam was really going through like a very transitional period. Around that time you had, excuse me, Jay Z. You had DMX and Ja Rule. Saving Def Jam and shit like that. And then Onyx definitely. Onyx definitely they were still popular. They were still doing their thing, but then the album it kept getting pushed back. It kept getting pushed back, and then they were going through like a lot of label issues around that time too, and things of that nature. They were going through like a lot of label issues, um, because from what I looked up, you guys should know if you guys should know about Def Jam. By 1999, um, Polygram sold like 50% of Def Jam to Seagram and stuff like that, and so a lot of artists got dropped from Def Jam and a lot of artists kind of got put to the side, and Onyx was among one of them, and things of that nature. And Sticky Fingers, he felt some type of way because he felt like they were really the ones that kept Def Jam afloat during like the early '90s, which is true,
Mm-hmm.
because
Right.
as much as I love Def Jam, there was some times where they kind of had its peaks and then they had its lows. And Onyx was definitely keeping afloat. Yeah, LL. Yeah, you still had LL. But as much as I love like the 14 Shots in the Dome album, that album commercially was not promoted right, which LL even had problems with that too. And of course, Method
But
Man and Redman.
the
You said what?
the thing with that album is, again, '93 was a year of the hardcore hip hop, and you had a lot of artists that wasn't normally doing that. That they were following that trend. So you had like Queen Latifah had a harder sound with Black Rain. You had LL Cool J with 14 Shots to the Dome. You had Father MC of all people with Sex is Law.
Oh
It
God,
was a harder. I know you don't like that album. It was a harder
I don't
sound.
like Father MC in general.
It was a harder sound for a lot of those artists. Even the youngsters, they went from past the mic to cruise pop with the aftermath that year. It was a harder sound for a lot of those artists. So I always liked that album. And he had his commercial joints. You had Backseat, you had Stand By Your Man. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like you couldn't, you know what I'm saying? I don't really buy that whole I just feel like maybe a lot of the fans was turned off by the harder sound album from him. But I feel like it was a good album.
See, yeah, like I can't be biased. I'm not like the biggest Father MC fan and stuff like
Like,
that. So, but see, it's just like,
I'm talking about the LL album though, the 14 Shots is dope.
oh, oh
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, 14 shots. I just felt like people wanted a Mama Said Knock You Out too,
Mm-hmm.
and technically, in some instances, you got that with certain songs, but with like the popularity of West Coast hip hop,
Mm.
and it's kind of crazy because I've heard a lot of people even say that LL was influenced by Onyx, but I don't even know if Onyx was really popular when 14 Shots was happening.
Well, they I want to say want to say both albums came out around the same time, like early '93, like spring '93. You know what I'm saying? But again, like it's Def Jam. They have the biggest that at the time they had the biggest promotional machine behind them. So it was impossible to me for a group like Onyx to fail on Def Jam. You know what I'm saying? You got JMJ, Jam Master Jay discovered them. Like he was one of the biggest DJs at that time to come from one of the biggest rap groups ever. So you know what I'm saying? I felt like the LL album was good, but I think because it had that harder sound and it wasn't like, Mama Said Knock You Out, it didn't do that. And plus I remember when How I'm Coming came out, a lot of people didn't like that as a first single. He got a lot of flack for that first single coming out.
Which one?
How I'm Coming song?
Oh yeah, yeah. Smack,
Yeah.
smack, smack, smack.
Yeah, a lot of people didn't like that when it came out. So.
Yeah, man. But like, and one thing I also found interesting was it's kind of crazy too because while they were promoting like the Shut 'Em Down album and stuff like that, they kind of like bum rushed the 1998 Grammys and stuff like that. And
Okay.
so this was the infamous Grammys where Old Dirty Bastard.
Sticky mentioned that on the album.
Yeah, he mentioned that now, which I never knew about and stuff like that.
Right.
Because originally that was supposed to have been his idea.
Mm-hmm.
And he said that ODB stole that shit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man. I never like I said before, I never heard that shit, but at the end of the day, yeah, man. This whole album definitely had like a lot of dark. It was like a dark chapter in Onyx's career and stuff like that. But let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. So track number one out of 19 tracks. Well, technically 20 if you want to be technical, but we'll talk about that. We got the It Was Onyx skit. Nothing to it, just Onyx presented themselves and whatnot. Nice little way to start up the album. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah, basically, and if you remember, also before this album came out, Def Jam was promoting this album on other people's albums. Like when
Yes,
DMX first came out with It's Dark and Hell is Hot, I actually have that edition where they put a bonus disc with like some Onyx advanced copy of the album on the bonus disc, and it had like a freestyle that they did called See You in Hell Part 2. And the beat that they were freestyling on is from Gaddafi and a mom thug, it's called Illuminati, I think it's called.
yeah,
I heard CNN when CNN first came out with the War Report, they were freestyling over that beat as well. But they put that in like El Nino, the early editions of that album, and DMX first album.
yep. I
And
remember that too.
you got that one?
Yeah, I have the promo copy of the DMX,
Yeah,
and they had like the Onyx as like one
yeah.
of the
The
most.
the promo copy is out of print. That actually costs more than the actual regular copy. But yeah, the DMX one I have with the bonus disc, and that's how they were promoting the album coming out. And they had this intro on here, and I like the intro. Like again, it was like um they starts off with like a guy is in the trunk of the car, and they take him out the trunk of the car, and then Sticky's asking him like, yo, like who the fuck did it? And then the guy's like, he's scared to tell Sticky who it is, or what he knows or whatever. And Sticky's like threatening him like, yo, like if you don't tell me, I'm gonna kill your fucking ass, I'm gonna shoot you. and then the guy ends up saying like it was Onyx, and then he shoots him anyway. So that's how the album starts off with that intro, like Sticky killing somebody. So it leads up into other things, but I think that was a good way of starting the album.
Yeah, very nice way to start off the album. And it wouldn't be an Onyx album without like an anthem of some sort where we got with Raise It Up, which is in my opinion one of my all-time favorite Onyx songs, period.
Right.
Uses a nice sample of Throw Your Guns in my opinion. Um it's crazy too because anytime you have something called Raise It Up, it's Ultramagnetic MC had a song called Raise It Up too from the
Right.
Four
Right.
Horsemen album, which
Hmm.
I love that track too, which I'm gonna talk about that next year and shit. But yeah, this track right here was pretty solid. Always the nice lineup, always starts off with Fredro, then Sansi, and then Sticky just does his thing to kill it, in my opinion. But in my personal opinion, I feel like Sansi did his thing with this track.
Hmm.
I always felt like Sansi was the most underrated member of Onyx, in my opinion.
Hmm.
Because I love Fedro, I love Sticky, but Sansi, he added that element, in my opinion, that fucking
I seen
element.
somebody say that too in here. I think it was Ronnie said that he was underrated.
Yeah, man.
What up? What up? Cruz was good.
Yeah, he just added that element. But yeah, Raise It Up definitely was a very dope joint. I love it.
Yes, this was definitely a dope song, and I like the fact that they took the sample from the actual Onyx song, "Throw Your Guns Up." You know that part where they say "Word up, raise it up." We do it like this. We don't give a fuck. That
Yeah,
part of the song, and it has a dope beat. I like the hi hats on it, the bass line, the piano loop is really a grimy track. Federal saying, "Yo, lyrical assault, Mike's outlined in chalk, gun talk, homicidal New York, fire joint." I've always been a fan of both Fredro and Sticky. 'Cause I know Sticky gonna bring that craziness to
yeah,
whatever song he's on, and Fredro is like the a good combative for that. You know what I'm saying? He's like a good compliment for that for Sticky's wildness. You know what I'm saying? I do feel like yeah, Sun C is was slept on in the group. Definitely underrated, and yeah, definitely a dope song to start this album.
yeah, man. Um, Off topic, but yo, child, why am I watching
Mm.
Dick Van Dyke when reviewing Onyx and shit?
The black and white joint.
Black and white joint.
Oh man, I used to watch that a lot on a Nick at Night, man.
For real, man. Like I don't know. I watching these shows always relaxing after long days. So
Yeah, yeah. So I love to go back and watch the old classics like
oh yeah. But anyway, yeah, what's up, Cruz? I
that.
saw you and shit. Then we're gonna get into another fucking anthem, Street Niggas featuring X1. Yo, I was surprised DJ Scratch produced this one and stuff like that.
Uh-huh.
Um, very underrated producer in my opinion. Yeah, very, very dope joint and stuff like that. Street niggas, just talking about how, street niggas and stuff like that, they don't do the talking, they just do the fucking shooting and shit like that, about that life, you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So very, very dope joint right here. I love it.
This song and DJ Scratch, I definitely have new like I found newfound respect for him. Now, I was always a fan of him, like from EPMD and seeing the stuff that he could do with the turntables. Like if y'all ever seen Scratch, you know, mix on the turntables, he's killing it and doing one handed tricks and put on the Jason mask and all that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
But I think him as a producer, like doing the stuff with Buster, I definitely appreciated him as a producer, and I think he's overlooked as a producer too. And I feel like this song could have definitely been on When Disaster Strikes. It has that Buster feel to it, especially with the drums and the bass line. And it's a dope. I like the horn loop on it and the choppy bass line and X1. Rest in peace to him. That was Sticky Fingers' brother. I definitely think he was a great added compliment to the group on this album. He did definitely kill a lot of these tracks like this one. And he says, off the top, make money off of rock, on and off the block, bouncing off on cops. I love his wordplay and his whole flow was seamless and definitely one of the best joints on here.
Oh yeah, man. Definitely a very hard joint right here. Um, then we're gonna get into the next track, which is called "Shut 'Em Down" featuring DMX.
Mm,
Um, yeah, another hard ass joint
man.
right here. Fucking Darkman X at his prime, in my opinion. I mean, yeah, this. I mean, to be honest, I kind of prefer the remix, which I'll get into that. But
Yeah.
this one was a very hot joint itself, and this is what kind of gets to me and shit like that because with the success of Rough Rider, they could have still had room for Onyx, in my opinion, when it came to Def Jam.
On the
But
roster,
yeah,
you would want to see Onyx with Rough Riders.
to be honest, that can actually work. In my opinion, it can actually work and shit. But
Interesting.
what you
Interesting.
think?
I never thought about that. I never thought of. I mean, because see, Rough Riders, they all know each other. So it's like when you bring in Onyx, it's like they're like the outsiders. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like that's really how the whole company started. Like if you all saw the documentary, like D and Y and that Swiss Beats aunts and uncles and Swiss Beats is a nephew and he, you know what I'm saying? And he worked with everybody in the crew. You know the Locks, they all grew up together. So I feel like I never really thought about like putting Onyx in Rough Riders, but I mean that could work.
yeah, man. Like, and it kind of boggles me. It kind of boggles me that like fucking that how Def Jam kind of treated them poorly
Mhm.
towards like the late '90s and shit like that. You know what I'm
Right,
saying? Because
right.
they did kind of go in on Russell on a couple of these songs too.
Yeah,
So
yeah. That's all Leo Cohen and Kevin Lyles because they were they were basically ushering in the Rockefeller era and Murder Inc. and DMX. So they everybody else was like thrown to the side. You know
right,
what I'm saying? And unfairly, Onyx was one of those artists. You know what I'm saying? It's a shame because they were on fire at that time. You know, and this song here, man, like if you don't like this song, you don't like hip hop. I'm sorry because
I
this
agree.
nobody can tell me DMX on this song is whack. This song is a classic. This song alone, they didn't even have to drop a Shut 'Em Down album. Just this song alone is a classic song. DMX, this is 90, not was it this came out with 98? 98. This is Dark and Hell is Hot DMX, yo. He had
With
one of the best
Flesh on
verses
My
on
Flesh,
this album. Everything he was killing that time was fire. You know what I'm saying?
I agree.
Everything he was killing with, whether he did joints with Cam or with LL, whoever, he was killing it at that time. You know what I'm saying? And yo, I never get tired of this song. Like this, the that horn loop and the bass line and the beat is just such a grimy track. And Fredro, everybody killed it. Fredro on here, he's saying life's a bitch. Fuck it, got the gun, bust it. Kid and play, got played. Your own people can't be trusted. What? Come on, man. DMX. Fuck you know about a pine box. Money go down with 9 shots. Autopsy be that same nigga they pull out not weighing 9 shots. Come on. Fire. Sticky at the end. I think Sticky had to compete with DMX. He probably had to go in the studio and change up his verse after he heard DMX verse. You know what I'm saying? Because Sticky went bananas on this track.
He did.
You know what I mean? When he said, "Yo, return shit done quick when the gun click, lying in your rounds, wrist and lying on your dick." I'm so hyped. I'll take your life. If you don't have my dough right, then fuck 5 mics. I don't need no mic. What? Come on, man. Come yo. This is a classic song, man. I'm telling you. If they didn't drop no album at all and they just came out with this as a 12-inch, this definitely would have been a multi-platinum selling single for Onyx. That's how I still fuck with this song. Like I don't gotta play nothing else on this album, just the title track. And that's it. I'm good. Like it's a timeless song. You know what I'm saying? It's a
Yeah,
timeless song. Yo, shout out to Onyx for getting DMX on that, man. They definitely this is what happens when you on the right label. This is the type of collabs you gotta have. When you got DMX on Def Jam, you gotta have DMX on your album. You know
right.
what I'm saying? And they saw the potential and they like, yo, we gotta get that dude on our next album. And it worked. You know what I'm saying? Like nobody you cannot be a hip hop head and say this you cannot like this song. If you don't like this song, you're not a hip hop head. I'm sorry. But this song is timeless. Money, Power, and Respect with him and Kim and the Locks. Timeless track. 24 Hours to Live with the Locks and Black Rob
Ooh,
and Mace.
nigga,
Niggas
don't
really
even get me
started something
started.
with the Lock. Come on. DMX was killing everything that he was on at that time, yo.
Don't
A
even get
lot of
me
those
started on
albums,
24
a
hours.
lot of those, I feel like yo, a lot of those albums he was on wouldn't be what they was if he wasn't on. Would the Locks, Money, Power, and Respect be a classic album if he wasn't on that joint? Or Mace Harlem World? Like, come on. You know what I'm saying? Like that whole crop of MCs that we had when we had Pun come out and we had DMX and when Nori was going solo and yo, that was like truly like probably I want to say like the last great freshman class of MCs as far as rap. I don't think we'll ever see another like crop of freshman MCs like that ever again. You know, like how we had in the NBA in 2003 when we had LeBron and Melo and Wade. We might
Yeah,
not ever get another freshman class like that again ever in
hell
rap.
no.
You know what I'm saying? Like they were just killing everything at that point. It was like a competition.
Oh yeah, man. Um, yeah, man. Well said on that one and shit. Definitely well said. Um, Track number five, Broke Willies. It uses a which I never knew, but it used a sample of the Rolling Stones track "Miss You." I love that track. That da 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 da
Right.
da. This track pretty much is going after the whole shiny suit era, talking about how niggas were talking about getting money, but you know there's still them certain niggas that still want to be repping the streets and shit. I like it. I definitely fuck with this track right here. Um, yeah, man. You can tell they were definitely going after Puffy and shit like that. Yeah, man. I like it. That don't dope joint. Did
Definitely, I love
anybody?
the bass line. That beat was fire. You know, like again, it was like they were taking jabs at like the shiny suit ever, and rightfully so. Like a lot of the industry was revolting against Puffy, even though he was popular. That becoming his own artist and with No Way Out, and a lot of people didn't like that. And Onyx was one of those groups that's like, yo, fuck Puff. We bringing that grimy shit. We got to keep that grimy sound in hip hop. And Federal saying we ain't have shit growing up. Now we blowing up. 100 G's a show, price going up. Even Onyx at that time was talking jiggy in their bars and shit. And that's not like Onyx, but I get
Right.
the parody they were making fun of at Puffy and the whole jiggy ever, and I thought it was dope.
Yeah, which is one thing I was going to talk about with this album. But did anybody in the East Coast about like Puff at that time?
I liked, I mean, because I grew up with Puff before him blowing up, so I know how he was when he was just an A&R at Uptown, and he was like him promoting when he went to Howard University and he was promoting parties. He was a good party promoter, and that's what turned him into like a businessman and stuff. And
Yeah.
I remember how Puff was before the fame. You know what I'm saying? When he blew up, he didn't really blow up until Biggie passed away. Okay, because that's when Biggie passed away. He got he was already planning on doing an album. They were working on an album before Biggie got killed, and he was planning on coming out solo. But we didn't know that at the time because we didn't have the internet, so we didn't know that he was planning a solo album. You know what I'm saying? But like he really became a big icon when No Way Out dropped. And I love No Way Out. It's a classic album, but it's a classic album because of the collabs, not because of Puffy's rhyming skills. You know what I'm saying? People forget. I'm like, Puffy don't write his own bars. He had help. You know what I'm saying? But I liked him for that album. I still feel like there's some shady shit about him, and I think he knows more than he do about the Biggie murder, and he'll probably never know. But I don't like that side to him. I feel like he knows more. I feel like he's shiesty and he never paid his artists. But that No Way Out album was great. I love that album. That's why I bought it. You know what I'm saying? Everything else after that, I ain't care for. you
Shoot.
know. But I mean, he was big here that time. You know what I'm saying? Like people went to the No Way Out tour. He was a thing here. Like I remember reading the Rolling Stone magazine when he was on the cover of that issue. He got like a mink coat with no shirt on. He got the Chicago White Sox fitted on. I remember buying that. You know what I'm saying? But if it was just one album, that would have been cool. You know what I'm saying? But he made himself into a artist that he really wasn't. You know what I'm saying? So it was like he made himself bigger than he was supposed to be. You know what I mean? And I think that's why that turned a lot of people off. And then the whole the messy letting go the Locks had to have a petition just to get off of Bad Boy. He took one toe to court just to get out of that deal with Bad Boy when he went to Def Jam. It was just a lot of bullshit going on with him that people they started to hate him. So it became something where, oh, I love Puffy. Oh, now I can't stand Puffy. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of people blame him for that whole shiny suit ever. It wasn't just him. Like people forget Cash Money was out too. You know what I'm saying? Bling Bling. That was like a big hit over here in New York, and they never played Cash Money ever until that song. You know
Hell,
what I'm saying? So it's like if we gonna give Puffy that smoke, let's give that smoke to Cash Money and No Limit and all those other cats that was promoting that whole bling ever during that time. You know what I mean? But Puffy was at the forefront of that.
because like Loki, Cash Money, to an extent, when it came to the whole shiny suit era, like jewelry has always been like a staple when it came to hip hop, as far back as maybe Slick Rick and shit like that.
Right?
But yeah, I definitely see what you're
He,
saying and stuff like
he
that.
he had that's the influence he had. You know, when you have influence over Mike Geronimo, who was far from being commercial, for him to go from the natural to Vendetta, and he actually told Mike not to do the nothing move but the money song, and Mike Geronimo still did it anyway, and his career flopped after that. That should tell you something. If you can take an underground cat like Mike Geronimo and try to and he decides that he wants to go mainstream, that's the effect that Puffy had on the industry at that time. So you have people going out of their way to try to make it on radio because of Puffy, because it worked for Bad Boy, but it ain't gonna work for everybody else. You know, and you had an artist that was revolting against that. You know what I'm saying? Black Star wasn't doing that shit. Onyx wasn't doing that shit. You know what I mean? So, the industry started to revolt against that whole, shiny suit thing, and it became to the point where people can't stand him now. Like I can't stand him. You know what I'm saying? Like No Way Out was his one good album. I always treasure it, but I don't care for dude. I don't like just his business tactics and the way that he cheated people out of money and all that, and taking credit for beats that you never produced. I can't. I don't like people like that. You know what I'm saying? That's bad for it's bad for the culture. It's bad for the business.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like it's to the point where I'm one of those people that can't stand Puffy. Like if you try to get me to do, you would have to pay me money to do a Puffy discography on my channel because I'm not gonna do it. I would not do that shit at all. I don't mind this guy. We already talked about No Way Out, but you can never get me to talk about his other album.
To be honest, that thought is not even on my fucking head, yo.
No, but I'm saying like if anybody came to me and be like, "Yo, I want to hear you discuss Puffy's discography," you gotta pay me because I'm not doing it. I refuse because all of those other albums were crap. I told you I bought the Forever album and I threw that shit away. You know what I'm saying? Like that was my mistake of thinking it was gonna be
Whoa.
good like No Way Out. No,
Yo,
that was
Ronnie, Ronnie, I never knew that Shut 'em Down was released the same day as MP The Last Dawn. Oh wow.
you talking about. I know what Legion talking about. You talking about the song you did with Keisha Cole last night? No, yeah, and Keisha Cole, she a cool artist or whatever, but that they overplayed that song because it's the only good song on that Press Play album. You know what I'm saying? He don't have no other good albums after that. What song you talking about? The R. Kelly song? I didn't like that song either. That should have been for R. Kelly's album.
Let me satisfy. You mean
You
that
talking
one?
about you talking about Satisfy You. That should have been for R. Kelly's album. Not that song couldn't save that whole album. And he had big name artists on it and it still was crap. So that go to show you like, yeah, you can have all the money and get all the features and still come up with a trash album.
But see, even if that was on R. Kelly's art album, I would not even like it. That because the
Oh,
way
you
they
talking
put
about
that.
the song P 2000 with Hurricane G, and I didn't like that song, and
Yeah, that
I'm
was trash.
surprised. I don't even think Chuck D should have let him use that sample.
Yeah, because the way they flipped that Looney sample, I don't even like that because they didn't do nothing
Yeah,
to the fucking sample.
Nah. And he just sound bad over the song. Like it's not even the beat. He just sound bad over it. I think
Right.
that's what made me throw away the album. I'm like, what the hell did I just buy?
Yeah. But anyway, yeah, I definitely hear what you're saying about that. That's Broken Willies. Yeah, very, very dope track. Then we're gonna get into the For Nothing skit, which is like an 18-second skit, you know what I'm saying? Um, Nothing to it. Just how motherfuckers just talking about like, robbing chains and stuff like that. And yeah, that's basically a nigga getting shot.
Yeah, that was a big thing. Like you have a skit and you have like somebody getting shot. You know, like you listen to Cuban Link, you had people getting shot on different skits between the songs, and that was a thing on this album as well. You know, niggas getting robbed for their chain and they getting shot in losing.
Yeah, man, definitely hear what y'all saying and shit like that. Yeah, Janis Joplin, man, very dope artist.
Yeah,
I have a Pearl album. I need to talk about that one day.
died. She died too soon. 27,
Way too,
way too soon.
uh, like if it wasn't for her, you wouldn't have people like Melissa Etheridge,
Right.
people like that. Um, yeah. Anyway, then we're gonna get into probably my favorite track off this album, Rob and Vic. Man, like this track right here. See, one thing I can honestly say that this album has over All We Got Is Us was
Uh,
the storytelling
yeah,
was very grimy and
I
shit
agree.
like that. And with this track, Rob and Vic, it just tells a story about how these two brothers, you know, it takes place in 1993. It features like Sticky and X1 and whatnot, just trying to make it out to the five,
Mhm.
trying to rob and stuff like that. And it's kind of crazy too because it's always when it comes to that street life and shit like there's always the motherfuckers that's close to you
Right.
you gotta watch your back for. And that's pretty much the lesson you got here with because you have fucking family that, can steal from one another and can use money as a weapon against you and shit. And this some fucking it's some real ass shit, to be honest with you. Some fucking real ass shit. Excuse me. And it's kind of crazy too because ironically, 1 year later, and this is completely off topic, but with Roger and Larry Troutman and stuff like that, how close they were. But then once Roger started doing his thing a lot more, allegedly, Larry kind of felt some type of way, but we
Right.
might never know what really happened that day. But yeah,
Yeah, I like the story of like the two brothers and Sticky getting mad. Sticky gets mad at some point in the story with his brother, doing a side deal with undercover cops and ends up shooting him. And I like the mic play with Sticky the back and forth mic play with Sticky and X1, and they did that as well on the autobiography of Kirk Jones album when they had that song. I forgot the name of the song. Why, I think it was Why, or so it's
yeah.
one of those songs where
When
X1.
he's talking to God, right?
Yeah. Nah,
Yeah,
but I think that was before because in on the story, X1 ended up dying in the pursuit chase, in the chase with the cops. They end up dying, and then Sticky went into the whole God song, like, why God, why is this happening to me? But that's a whole different story. But I like the mic play with X1 and Sticky, and X1 saying, son fronting so hard, heard he had 100 G's alone on his gold card. And then Sticky says, yo, don't panic, trust me, I jumped back and bust 3 shots through their windshield, they ain't windshield. I like that. And then like you got like the little singing on the chorus as well. So this was a dope storytelling track, and the beat is real dark. It has a dark melody to it. It was great. Definitely a great song.
yeah, man. Like I will put this up there with like Purse Snatchers in
Right,
terms of like the grimy production and stuff like that.
right.
Um, and if you guys, speaking of Purse Snatchers, have you ever heard the part two to that track?
No, I remember hearing that there was a sequel. I haven't heard it though.
Yo, that shit right there. I think I like that more than the original. But yeah, man. We gotta talk about the cold case file. That's all I gotta say.
Yes, a
'Cause
lot of they have so many unreleased joints is crazy.
exactly, like that's one thing I love about artists with like a vast amount of catalog. Because
Yeah,
you can listen to the albums and shit like that, but then if you want to like go deep in their catalog, see what they did around that time, you can listen to like their like unreleased shit. That's why
yeah,
like I love listening to the unreleased shit like
and
Pac
and
had.
they have 20 unreleased songs from this album alone. That some of them I heard, and some of them, yeah, all of them are unreleased, but some of them like I heard, and I think there's some of the cold case files.
Yeah,
Yeah,
20. Damn, I
yeah.
could have sworn it was more. Damn.
Well, I mean, well, Wikipedia just named it 20. I don't know if there's any more other than those, but I know like some of those I've heard before. Like the take, there's a longer version for Take That. We'll talk about that. And like I said, like the See Me in Hell Part Two freestyle that was on the old Clue mixtapes. I heard that was on the sampler, but it wasn't on the album.
Yeah.
Yeah,
One thing I wish that was on All We Got Is Us. I wish the full version of "I'll Murder You" was on that
yeah,
one.
yeah. True.
"I'll Murder You." I love that. Man, I love that fucking track. I
Yeah.
I'll be like fucking driving the highway, just blasting
Uh,
that motherfucking shit. Just see white people just bob my fucking.
it's stupid.
Yeah. "I'll murder you."
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Yo, this is actually the first review where the camera's not actually that bad though, but now it's fucking up. Anyway, then we're gonna get into Face Down, another like dope ass banger and shit like that. Definitely love the beat and whatnot. I felt like Sticky Fingers definitely did his thing on this one and shit like that. He's the line that he said was, give me one second, let me pull it up. Pedro. He said, "You rather be in the projects butt ass with 100 G's cash and no gun than to fuck with Sticky Federal and son. You looking at one desperate nigga you should mess with. I had a doctor scared to remove a bullet from your own intestine." Ooh,
Crazy,
like
crazy.
my favorite lyricist from the fucking group, man. Motherfucking Sticky Fingers.
Yeah,
Oh, I'm done.
yeah, man. Like, yo, when I first heard this beat, like that whole video game melody,
Yeah,
that shit is, yo, it just fit this beat, and with that real like deep bass line, and the beat is just a real dark, grimy track. And Federal opening up, and he says, "Trapped in America, assassinate your character, slaughter you. 21 holes in your Nautica, fuck all of you." Fire. And Sun C definitely is the star of this track. I love his verse. He says, "Taking a ride in the ambulance, you catch mad damages. Cock the hammer shit, leave you lost like Angeles. You ain't brick or paper mache. Whatever you got, get taken away. You're begging today." Fire. That's one of his best verses ever in Onyx. Definitely is a star of this track. I just love that's a classic Onyx track. I love this track.
yeah, I definitely agree with you on that one.
Yo,
Like they all went in on this track, man. But
definitely.
but that verse is definitely a quotable.
Yes.
Um, then we're gonna get into like a skit called "Cops," which I kind of felt like this is probably my second favorite skit off this album. Because Onyx, they've always talked a lot about police brutality, black men against, like representation of black men in their music, which I felt like not a lot of people give them credit for
Right.
and whatnot. And even like the skit alone, like this emotion is Sticky Fingers, man. Like you can tell he was really getting ready for the solo,
Right.
like the dramatic from solo album. You can definitely sense some of that here and shit like that. And what I mean by dramatics, I don't mean that like in the Rick James Ebony Eyes video dramatic. I mean like the emotion out of it all and shit, you
Right.
know? Cause that was dramatic.
Yes. Yeah, and that's a skit that's still relevant now. Like people getting pulled over by cops in their ride, and getting arrested for no apparent reason, sometimes even killed. And we definitely can relate to that skit. Sticky Fingers actually did a song this past summer. when uh George Floyd got killed.
Yeah, I heard it.
I believe this song is with Karis One and some other people. It's on his YouTube channel. I forgot the name of it. I saw the video. Like Samuel L. Jackson is on it, of all people, because he's like talking at the end of the song, and I forgot the name of the song, but it's on his YouTube channel. So go to his channel and look for that song. But I believe like there's like Karis One and there's like some other people featured in the song. I don't know why he got Samuel L. Jackson on here, but I know he's talking at the end of of the video. So yeah, they were always about police brutality and stuff. I definitely think the skit as unfortunately it's a time to skit because we all still going through that shit now.
Right. Yeah, man. Which leads us into like the next track. Conspiracy. Ooh. Yeah, man. This joint right here was another heavy joint right here. Featuring Clay the Raider and X1. DJ Scratch again. He returns on this one. Pretty dope track. But with this one, it's not like as political. It's pretty much just talking about if your friends, like if you who can you really trust around you, like your friends or your family when you get all famous and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, this one was a pretty heavy joint. You know what I'm saying? Pretty heavy joint, very relatable. Um, yeah, man. In the fourth verse, Sticky Fingers of course got killed.
Mm,
And then when he's narrating his life, like in the outro and shit like that, well, not like outro, but when he's narrating the line where he says, "If the gun ain't Jim, I would have bust you. I don't trust my own mother. How the fuck I'ma trust you?"
mm,
Like, I mean, it might sound crazy, but that's some really like heavy shit.
mm,
Like when he said, "But I can't bring them niggas back, kid. They already wet. As a kid, I went to jail because I sold crack. I'm holding trail in the streets because I ain't trying to go back." Like,
mm.
yeah, we all know what that means and shit. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Yeah, Ray Sean, I've heard Illmatic plenty of times, man. I mean,
Who has it?
that was my second review I done on this channel, but
Oh, where Illmatic?
yeah, and I didn't even want to do Illmatic right away, but my homeboy,
Mm,
Mark, shout out to my homeboy Mark right away. He wanted me to do Illmatic, so I was like, you know what, fuck it, just for you, I
right,
got you.
right.
But yeah, man, very dope joint. Conspiracy again, another underrated banger from this album, in my
Yeah,
opinion.
definitely another dope beat by Scratch. Love the bass line and the hi hats on there. Real grimy track. Sunsea for me is the starters track again. He says, so eyes open, don't sleep, because once you do, you go deep. More money, more heat. Fred Joe, I like his verse. He killed it as well. Love the chorus on here. Yeah, definitely a dope song. And Onyx was just like it was. Everything for them wasn't always about the street. They can get political if they wanted to, and talk about social differences with our people. And I definitely enjoyed this track.
Yeah, man. I definitely enjoy this track too, man. It just and this is why I kind of felt like Honest gets very misunderstood because they all people always want to talk about their bald heads because
Right.
like even shows back in the day like the Wayne brothers,
Mhm.
they be always going into Onyx hard and Shimon always be going into Onyx hard and
Yeah.
what. But at the end of the day, like if you really sit down and listen to like what they be saying and shit like that, they really be on some really like woke. I hate to use the word, but on some like woke shit. You know what I'm saying?
Right. I think they were like the hood dudes from around the way that knew how that were like the voice of like the hood. Like they knew how to speak for black men and for the hood in general. And they didn't do it in a corny way. They did it in a hood way. You know what I'm saying? That a way that we can understand.
Right.
You know what I'm saying, and you got to applaud them for that. So everything wasn't about guns and sticking with people, and they got older, they got wiser, and they hit us with different angles. So
Right. And mind you, before I go to the next song, let me just remind you, Onyx was originally a conscious group
right,
influenced by like De La and Tribe. Like
right,
so I kind of feel like they still kept in touch with those roots.
mm,
Like especially like with this album and stuff like
right,
that.
yep, definitely.
And Onyx was not the original name too, so
Right, it
Oh,
was something else. I forgot the name of them.
yeah. If I look it up, I'll let you
Yeah.
know. Then we're gonna get into Black Dust. DJ Scratch again. He returns again. Um, this one, this one was okay. I mean, I
Another cop.
wasn't really, I wasn't really too big on this one like that, but it was still like a tough, still had like a tough beat. So that's all I gotta say.
I loved it. Again, another dope scratch beat. Bass line was dope with horns. Sun C again. I like his flow, but he had a different flow on this. He sounded, I want to say, he sounded more like Das Effects. He had like a more diggity
Yeah,
Das type of. I'm like, that's weird to hear Sun C doing like in a Das Effects type of flow. But he it worked for him on this song. I didn't want to hear him do that on anything else, but it worked. I don't know what would make him do like decide to use Das's style for this track, but it worked for him. He says, official nasty, the Aggie, still ghastly. You triple S niggas, soft, sexy, and sassy. Fire. Federal's flow. I didn't like Federal's flow on here because he sounded like I like more aggressive, going at you at your head type of, Federal. And he sounded too laid back and too like smooth, almost like, like he was like on a club joint, and this wasn't a club joint. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
So I didn't like Federal's flow on here. X1 killed it. I liked his flow. It was dope. I like the chorus. They say, for every nigga who showed me love, two niggas hate me. For every bitch who showed me love, two bitches trying to take me. I like that. This definitely was a solid album cut.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you on that because like I guess like the flow is what really threw me off about this track because
Right.
around '98, Das Effects was kind of going. They were kind of sorry about that, but they weren't as popular as they was and whatnot, and so and even a Generation Effects album I never really cared for, but that's another
Yeah,
story.
that was bad. That was I remember hearing that. That was god awful. That's probably the worst album in their discography. Because to me,
Oh no,
they have a solid discography from Dead Serious to Hold It Down. But Generation Effects, I didn't like that one.
the one from '03 was much worse.
I didn't like that one either.
Ooh,
No, no. Just the first three for me. And that's it.
same.
They were. I saw them live in concert last year. They definitely did their thing. They killed it. Definitely love DOS Effects, man. One of the best duos ever in rap.
Everybody copied that flow. I don't care what nobody said.
Yeah.
That
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Even when they got into that beef in what was it, 92, 93 with Lords of the Underground over who started the style. To me, it's always been DOS. I never felt like Lords had the same style as them.
yeah, Lords, they were more rugged than Das.
Right.
Because Das, they could really enunciate with that kind of flow. The way
Yeah.
everybody else was trying to flow like them, they weren't enunciating it right, you know?
Exactly. And even Crisscross bit DOS Effects.
Don't even get me
Oh, the
started.
Miggity Mac Daddy, that's all DOS right there.
I'm like,
You
sit
know what I
down.
mean?
Yeah.
And supposedly, Trek from Naughty by Nature wrote for him, but I never, I felt like Crisscross sounded more like DOS than Naughty.
Yeah, I was going to talk about that one day because I mentioned that I think in a Naughty by Nature breakdown one time had Tresh was going after Jermaine Dupri on
Jermaine,
the
yeah, he mentioned that on the craziest joint. He's like how he got to hit Jermaine up for that loot that he owned.
Yep.
Yeah.
But look, Crisscross they were biting off Death Row, so they were biting off everybody. I'm sorry.
Oh, I don't know what you mean. What for the second album? You mean?
Yeah, the second album they
Yeah.
were
Well,
biting
yeah. Well, that was that because the G Funk was big at the time. You had a lot of East Coast artists that they really didn't fuck with the West, but they were biting that sound. So and Chris Cross was one of them, even though they were from the South. Jermaine Dupri used that whole G Funk sound to craft the second album. I love it. I think that's their best album in their discography. But I
Yeah.
mean, even at that time, I knew like yo, like this is a different Chris Cross album from the first one because it was more bass heavy, it's more G Funk. more synthesizers and a lot of bass. So I knew what it was when it came out.
I'd rather listen to fucking Terry B than that album. I'm sorry. That album
How
was,
could you not like the bomb? What's wrong with you?
bro. Like I said before, like it was like two or three songs I liked, but it was like a Dollar Tree Death Row album. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I
Mm,
prefer the third album, The Young
that
Black.
was good. That was
That
good.
was better.
Yeah,
And I'm not even a big Chris Cross fan though.
right. That
But that fucking The Bomb album is
yo,
trash.
we got to do a episode one day where we discuss albums that I like that you can't stand.
Okay, let's go.
Oh, man.
I'd rather listen to China Doll than that album. I'm sorry. Shit.
China Doll. Yo, what this dude said? China Doll. Wow, man.
But yeah. Anyway, uh, now we're gonna get into the One Nation skit, which this one was actually my favorite skit off the whole project because they were talking about how rappers and actors, because around the late '90s you had Will Smith, Latifah,
Right.
Ice Cube, you know, they were acting in their rapping, and once besides Will Smith because Big Willie Style was a big banger.
Right.
The next album after like they act for a few years, they always kind of flopped.
Mm-hmm.
And Onyx was pretty much saying that they were still here. The longevity was still here. They were gonna be forever. Which I hate to say it in my opinion, but after this album, they kind of fell off for a couple years until the Snow Goons album, in my opinion. But
Yeah, I agree. I agree. But
yeah,
we know that though. We know that. So it's like, you know what I mean?
right.
They made a resurgence with the Snow Goons.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, this was a dope skit, and it's like it sounded like they were like at a radio station, and like you have like a caller calling up and asking, well, basically like talking about like, well, Sticky's talking to this caller and talking about like how um they went into Hollywood, they did movies and stuff, and he was like basically saying like he don't feel like they fell off. He was like they took like a little break and then they came back, and he was like whatever mic they touch, they're gonna kill it. So that's basically what the skit is about.
shit. But yeah, man. And which leads us into the next track, React. This features Bonifuco, Still Living, X1, and the first appearance on Wax by a young 50 Cent. This track took me a while to get into, to keep the buck.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong, lyrically it was cool, but it was just that beat. I kind of felt like the beat was a bit too, I don't want to say jiggy,
It
but
was jiggy. That's how I felt too though.
it was a bit too up tempo because I'm gonna save the jiggy track for later.
Okay.
It was a bit too up tempo for Onyx. However, lyrically, I felt like, Sticky and Federal and even 50 did their thing. And it's crazy because 50 Cent before the shooting, man, that his flow was so fucking different, man. Like,
Mm.
and there's some controversy with this track too, because you guys should know, Onyx and 50 Cent never had love for one another. I'm sorry, but there was the legendary Onyx concert at the Apollo, and pretty much Scared for Life, who also known as Clay the Raider, he performed 50 Cent's verse, and this led to 50 dissing Sticky Fingers in like the How to Rob track,
Right.
and this led to like a lot of years beef, and even Federal saying that he believed that 50 was responsible for Jam Master Jay's death
Right.
because of his drug ties and stuff like that. But back to the song, I felt like the song was pretty straight. I felt like the song was pretty straight and stuff like that. But it's just the beat. I didn't really care for the beat though. I know Buddha, the Dr. Dre affiliate, he produced this track, which, for Buddha standards, it could have been. This could have been a throwaway beat. I'm sorry.
it was too. It's like a mainstream thugged out joint. It was too up
Right.
tempo even for Onyx. You know what I'm saying? And maybe I think that's more of the label doing that. I don't even think Onyx would have picked that as a second single from this
I
album.
know.
You know what I'm saying? I think that was all Def Jam, and I mean, cause they don't dance and all that, and even in the video is like they're like a hockey team and they're fighting on the ice, but like in the locker room,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? Like they're popping bubbly and shit. I'm like, that's not Onyx. You know what I'm
That's
saying?
not Onyx at all. I'm looking at
Yeah,
myself like,
you know what I mean. So yeah, I like X1 flow on it. Go coast to coast. I keep the toast. My weekly gross leaving deeply froze. That was cool. But I mean, I didn't care for the song like that. I just feel like that's not Onyx, man. It totally takes away from the theme of this album.
yeah, man. I definitely agree with you on that.
Yeah,
Then we're gonna get into Veronica. Very dope song.
yeah.
I never knew this, but they said Sunshine Anderson was on this track.
Oh, that she must have played the female. She must have played Veronica.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So yeah, again, another storytelling track with this. Onyx, they're like doing some stick up, and pretty much they were chilling with this girl named Veronica, and Veronica's like very like she's kind of iffy and stuff like that. So she's kind of iffy, and she's about that life too. But at the end of the day, I mean, the story just takes like a very like dark turn and whatnot. And what ended up happening was, if I'm not mistaken, Veronica set these niggas up. If I'm not
Hmm.
mistaken, and shit.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, it's pretty much like if you guys like Mob Deep's the Trife Life series,
Yes.
you guys will love this. That's
Yeah.
the best
I
description.
tried to warn them, don't go to the projects just to see a bitch. You know what I'm
For
saying?
real,
She set you up.
for real, man.
I learned that at an early age. Don't go to the projects with no chick. She gonna set you up, man. Have her come to your crib. You know.
Yeah,
It,
that's
this was a great storytelling track. I could definitely see this into a movie the way that it played out. And Sticky was screwing this chick. He was screwing Veronica, right?
yeah,
And then somewhere along the way, he got knocked. I think he got knocked out by her henchman or something. And he wakes up to like he says, I went downstairs, couldn't believe my eyes. I seen Veronica with three guys twice my size. They all had guns, but I was gatless. Last thing I saw was a kid with a scar, and then I seen blackness. So she set these niggas up. You know what I'm saying? And I like the beat, bass line. They sample that Veronica joint from back in the day. Oh, Veronica, Veronica. I
yeah.
forgot who did that joint. I'm supposed to know that too. I forgot, but yeah, that was an old school joint from back in the day, and I like that. I think this I would have definitely liked to see a video for this joint instead of that React joint. 'Cause I ain't care for that joint, but Veronica was dope.
Yo, when it comes to East Coast hip hop around the late '90s, anytime they name a song after a chick, it's always some
Yeah,
cinematic
it's
shit. Like
always bad. Yeah.
Lost Boys, Renee,
Hmm.
Wu Tang, Maria.
Hmm.
Um, Low key, not named after a chick, but I was even throwing Biggie's "Me and My Bitch" right
Yes.
that line.
Yeah.
What else? What else?
Remember, Big L had the track of but he got I should have wore rubber and he went to see Joel and Joel burned him. You know,
Yo,
like come on.
only L, only
Yeah.
Lamont Coleman. Anyway, Veronica. That's probably my second favorite tracks off the album.
Yeah.
Then we're gonna get into the next track called "Fuck That," which this track "Fuck That," it features the members of All City, J Mega, and Greg Valentine. Um, this track was okay. Again, not really one of my favorites on the album, but
Yeah.
yeah, it was alright.
This track was cool. I like the beat. It's real grimy. You got All City on there. Sticky to me took killed it. He said, here the thug come from out the here the thug come from out the dungeon. Say goodbye to your loved one. Can't run from the dum dum. You kicking whack shit. I cut out your tongue, son. And this rap shit for the lump sum. Love his flow on that joint. It was cool. It's not like a standout track to me, but I like Sticky Fingers on version.
Yeah, you're right. Ghetto Stars featuring Mr. Cheeks. So this is something I've always questioned. Things that we love, when it's all mixed in together, can not always turn out good. I love Mr. Cheeks of the Lost Boys. I love the sample, Curtis Blow, Christmas rapping. I love Buddha. But for some weird reason, I don't really love this song. I thought it was a bit too. This is the jiggy.
Yeah.
This is the jiggy track and stuff like that. The beat was away. It was not Onyx. It was way not Onyx. So, um, yeah, I could have taken it without this track. You know.
This track would have been better for the Lost Boys. Like if this was on Love, Peace, and Happiness, it would have been better for them. I don't think it fit. Again, I don't think this song fit the theme of this album, just like with React. You know what I'm saying? And like I like the beat, but it's just not for Onyx. Like this would have been better for Mr. Cheeks and the Lost Boys instead.
I agree. Yeah, because like the Lost Boys, they can get away with that because they weren't like the most hardcore group. They were like more melodic and
Right.
whatnot. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So
Yeah, they just like the party. They were out to have fun.
exactly.
They were like Migos back then before Migos.
Now I wouldn't go that far. I
I
would
mean,
not.
just in terms of like, I mean, Migos like the party, right? They not on no thug shit. That's how Lost Boys was. They wasn't on no thug shit, no street shit. They were just like some cats from the street that like to party and like to have fun. But they had way more talent than Migos. Is what I'm saying.
Okay, I see what you're saying. Um, Track number 17, Take That, featuring Sticky Fingers solo. Um, Too fucking short. Very, very dope track and whatnot. Um, yeah, that's how I feel. It's too fucking short.
There's a longer version. The longer version is unreleased, and they didn't put it on the album for whatever reason. But there's a longer version with the rest of them on there. But for whatever reason, the short version with Stickies would be God, and he's screaming, "That's the life that I lead." Niggas walking around town like they can't bleed. That shit. So, yeah, I like the longer version better. But this was a dope little track.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Um, Track number 18, The Worst. This was a posse cut between Onyx and Wu Tang. Wu Tang featuring Raekwon, Killer Sin, and Method Man and whatnot. And with Onyx, you had Sunny, Sticky, and Phaedro with X1. Yeah, this was a nice little posse cut. Um, definitely, they all did their thing. Killer Sin, man. Like that motherfucker can spit, man. Like hold your head up, Killer Sin. Nigga still locked up. You know what I'm saying? But
Right.
I love Waquan's first verse and shit like that. And especially the line where he says, "Tank top, Nautica, flip your daughter 30 ways. Yeah, you want mine bent out of shape one time. Play the mall staring at your bird of all sunshine." I mean, yeah, man, definitely a very dope verse and shit like
Yeah.
that. I like it, definitely.
Yes. That. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, definitely a very solid joint. And if I'm not mistaken, I think they wanted to do like a Wu Onyx album at one point, but
Oh,
I
wow.
don't know. I think they didn't really go through all the way.
Right. Instead, they did a Wu and D Block album. You know
Yeah, I didn't really care for that too. Yeah.
that
It
I
was,
liked some tracks, but it was not the album that people was expecting.
yeah, it was okay.
But when you have another big collab on it, when you have the Wu fresh off the success of the Wu Tang Forever double album, and you got Onyx together, this was like a hip hop fan's dream come true to have one crew and with Wu Tang and the other crew with Onyx and team up and do a collab. I loved it, man. It's a classic collab That beat is so grimy. The bass line, the horns on that joint. Um, I definitely think Ray killed it on his when he went first on the track, and Meth killed it. And he said, "Dead on arrival. We raised in the ghetto, singing songs of survival, ducking homicidal, rival, fire." I like the back and forth wordplay with Phaedro and X1. They definitely killed it. I like the back and forth wordplay with a mic play with Meth and Sticky. Definitely killed it. All around dope collab. Definitely a classic on this album. And then we get the hidden track Overshine.
Ooh,
That was it sampled I forgot what Ozzy Brothers song he sampled.
here we go again.
That was dope. It was melodic. Again, it was something different from Onyx that we normally didn't hear from them before. And Trey jokes on saying, "You on the block trying to hold a nine, son. You living on my time. Don't try to overshine." And I like that. I think it was definitely a dope, serious type of track from Onyx, and it was good.
Yeah, man. Overtime, overtime. That definitely caught me by surprise and shit like that. I
Yeah,
fuck with that joint. It kind of reminds me of the hard times, the hard times tracks from Bone Thugs and stuff
yeah,
like that.
right,
A little bit.
yeah,
Uh, um, and the last track is the Shut 'Em Down remix with Noriega and Big Pun. Yeah, I much prefer the remix, man, because it got all these niggas in their fucking prime, like Nari, Pun. We gotta talk about Nari's self-titled.
yes.
We gotta talk about
O.R.E.
that.
Definitely, definitely.
Yeah, man.
Classic.
Yeah, man. But this Big Pun, that was a nigga that fucking killed it in my
Oh
opinion.
yeah, yes.
Like this nigga said, my crew will catch and trap you inside of Koopa's castle. I turn your suit to statue like Medusa looking at you. Produce the future raps to subtract you to dudes and math do. I'm always moving past you even when I use the bat. Oh,
Mm,
this nigga right here,
mm,
one of his most iconic
definitely.
verses. And Sticky, his verse was noteworthy too because
Hmm.
with this one right here, he was definitely talking about a lot of shit. Like he was talking about the climate of hip hop at that time.
Right.
Like MTV won't play certain videos and shit like
Hmm.
that.
Hmm.
Ironically, he got into that whole boxing match and stuff like that.
Right.
Then he was the one where he revealed that he told Odie earlier to shut down the Grammys and throwing shots at Puffy. Talking about how he's remixing every fucking song.
Right.
Then growing up on fucking Def Jam and shit like that for his work. Like he was just talking about a lot of shit with this one right here. So I definitely fuck with this remix right here. One of my all time favorite remixes of that period and shit like that.
I could imagine Russell Simmons' face when he heard this verse from Sticky. When Sticky called him out.
I
Yo, there's
mean,
a lot going on with his verse. He said they scared to death. Motherfuckers want to ban me. I'm the one that told ODB shut down the Grammys. You think they could get with me? Stick? I'll burn all y'all. I don't care. Puffy, do your remix. I'm crazy. Running up in Def Jam with a handgun. Fuck a royalty. I'm holding Russell for ransom. That is crazy. That is like vintage Sticky Fingers right there. Like only him could say the absurd shit like that and get away with it. You know what I'm saying? Like I love the remix. Fedro did his thing. Pun had like the best verse on that. Rest in peace to him. Nori did his thing. This is definitely a solid remix to the original. I still prefer the original with DMX. I think DMX made that song what it is today. But this was a dope remix and have it at the end as a bonus joint. I love it.
yeah, I can't get mad about that. Overall, this is a very dope album, a very underrated album, if you ask me.
Yes.
Like I said, this album definitely was what you weren't really expecting, like a '98 in hip hop, because like '98, which that's a year in hip hop I feel like gets so overhated in my opinion,
Hmm.
because niggas want to say, oh, that was the year when hip hop went too commercial. I mean, you can say that, but you still had quality shit like
Oh yeah.
Volume 2, Hard Knock Life, Nari's first album, like we mentioned, you know, Juvenile's if I'm not 400 Degrees album came out that year. MP The Last Dawn, like
Lauryn Hill.
Lauryn Hill.
And 98 was a classic year for hip hop, man. A lot
It
of
was
classics came out that year.
a lot of classic, a lot of game changing albums came
Yes.
out. DMX's first two albums,
Yes. Classic.
yes.
Classics.
And I would even throw in Shut 'Em Down and shit. And
Yes.
I just feel like with people, they were expecting All We Got Is Us too,
Mhm.
where I feel like Onyx was definitely at their creative peak with that album, in my opinion. Whereas with this album was not, it's not saying this album was bad, but this album was far from bad because it just felt like the label. You can probably tell the label was trying to interfere
Yeah.
and go through like all that shit with Def Jam. And like I said before, they could have still
Hmm.
had a place for Onyx and Def Jam in '98, in my opinion, because realistically, the album was not. It was successful. It was very good on the charts. You know, number 3 on R&B hip hop, number 10 on the Billboard 200.
That's big.
That right, right, like not that far from DMX and shit like that. They could have worked with something out, in my opinion, and shit. You know what I'm saying? But we all know how Leo Coleman is, in my opinion. So
I mean, just by some of these songs, the ones that they tried to make commercial, you could tell that, and that's probably why we got so many unreleased songs on this album, because they probably was fighting Def Jam for a lot of those songs to be on the album. And Leo and Kevin was probably like, nah, we gotta come with React and Ghetto Stars, and, you know what I mean? And
right,
but even with those songs, I still feel like this is a classic album, their last classic album. Unfortunately, um, there's so many bangs on here. Like there's a lot to choose from. Like Street Niggas, Raise It Up, Shut 'Em Down, which is a classic collab of all time. You know, Veronica, Take That, um, Face Down. Another one of my favorites on here. The Worst with Wu Tang. Another classic. You got two classic collabs on one album. That not too many cats can say that for their own rap album and say like, yo, I got two classic collabs on the same album. You know what I'm saying? And I love it. The production was great, real grimy, like it was vintage Onyx. They incorporated X1 into the fold for this album. I thought he was great on a lot of these songs. Um, I love it. It's definitely a five mic album, one of the best of '98. That definitely a classic.
yeah, definitely a classic album, in my opinion. Unfortunately, this album's out of print, but it shouldn't be too expensive. I like this one of the albums I've seen in the vinyl store I'll be going to, but a certain fucking pandemic
Man,
fucking closed the album, so now I gotta go look in Discogs. But other
got
than that, I'm gonna give this album probably like a 4.5 mics.
okay.
Yeah. I'm gonna end the video off right here because I went way over the time limit.
Right.
Um, so Ashley, she's gonna let me know when she wants. We're gonna do the Mace album,
Okay.
stuff like that.
So
Um, I'm gonna definitely let you. I'm gonna definitely let you.
wasn't that '98 too?
97.
'98. Oh, '97. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
Um, I may or may not do this mystical review tonight. I was planning on doing the beef episode tonight and shit too.
right.
So stay tuned on that. Hopefully, I'm trying to have that released Thanksgiving.
Right. So
Um, but yeah, man, this was a dope video. Phil Collins is still Tuesday, right?
yes, Phil Collins. I thought it was Wednesday. It's Tuesday we doing that?
Yeah, you said
Okay,
Tuesday.
Tuesday. Okay, yeah, that's Phil Collins. Face value on my channel. That'll be like 11 p.m.
Yeah, let's do 11.
Okay, the usual time, 11 p.m. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
So-
And I'm not a Phil Collins fan, so this is gonna be the first time I've heard from Phil. So
Oh, I thought you liked face value though.
I said I liked a few songs, but I never heard
Oh,
the album full.
okay, okay, true.
Yeah.
So,
But other than that, thank y'all so much for watching this video. Stay tuned for more content, more stuff. I will see you guys sometime this week.
peace.
Peace. Thank you.